My fiance was suddenly replaced by 5 identical-looking strangers. Chloe, aren't you face blind? If you can find me among them, the wedding goes on as planned. Tristan's voice dripped with cold amusement from the recording playing in my earpiece. If you guess wrong, the wedding is off. I don't want a wife who can only recognize her husband by sniffing his clothes like a dog. I stood there clutching the bouquet. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the faces of the 5 men standing in front of me, because I knew without a doubt that Tristan was not among them. Just as I was about to make an excuse to slip away, the audio file automatically played the next clip. Tristan, if Chloe finds out you ditched her own engagement party to get a marriage certificate with Sienna, won't she? A friend's voice asked on the recording. Tristan interrupted him, his tone sharp and impatient. Sienna has late-stage cancer. Her last wish in this life is to marry me. How could I say no to her? As for Chloe, she's been chasing me for 10 years. She's too obsessed with me to ever break up over something like this. My heart shattered. The white roses in my hand slipped through my fingers, scattering across the polished floor. So from the very beginning, Tristan never intended to marry me. If that was the case, I would gladly step aside. I raised my hand and pointed directly at one of the 5 men. Excuse me, I said, my voice shaking but clear. Would you marry me instead? The banquet hall erupted into a frenzy of whispers. The man I pointed at froze. Then a low chuckle escaped his lips as the other 4 men quickly backed away. Miss Vance, I'm definitely not Tristan. I lowered my gaze, digging my fingernails deep into my palms. I know, but can you help me play along? I will pay you once this is over. If you want a divorce, I will agree immediately. The man stared at me for a long beat. Then he pulled a sleek diamond ring from his pocket and slowly, deliberately slid it onto my ring finger. Deal, he whispered. He leaned down, his voice brushing against my ear. But as for the payment, I'll decide the price later. A strange, inexplicably familiar scent drifted from him, but my mind was too chaotic to place it. The wedding will be in 7 days. I'll pick you up. Then I blinked in surprise, but nodded anyway. After all, the sooner this nightmare ended, the better. By the time I managed to escape the prying questions of the guests, night had fallen. I returned to the penthouse I shared with Tristan. As expected, it was dead silent. He hadn't come home. I let out a long sigh, massaging my aching legs, and collapsed onto the sofa. I figured I should at least let him know. In 7 days, I was getting married, too. I unlocked my phone. Tristan hadn't replied to a single one of my Snapchats. With trembling fingers, I opened Instagram. A bright red marriage certificate flashed on my screen, burning my eyes. Sienna had posted it. But at least I get to stand by his side as his wife. At the very end, no regrets. In the photo, Tristan was smiling so gently. His eyes crinkled with warmth, though the rims were slightly red, as if he had just cried. The screen went dark, then lit up again. No matter how much I wanted to deny it, it was real. Sienna, my once best friend, who had fled to Europe 3 years ago after her family went bankrupt, was now Tristan's wife. Suddenly, a loud, frantic knocking rattled the front door. I quickly grabbed a tissue, wiped my tears, and dragged my exhausted body to open it. Tristan stood on the threshold. Rainwater was dripping from his hair, but his arms were wrapped tightly around someone else. Chloe, there are bags in the trunk. Hurry up and bring them up for me. Before I could even speak, Tristan pushed past me, carrying Sienna up the stairs toward the master bedroom. By the time I dragged the last heavy suitcase inside, I was soaked to the bone and shivering violently from the cold. Chloe, thank you so much for bringing our bags up. You must be freezing. I snapped. My head up, a sickeningly sweet scent of expensive perfume hit my nose. Sienna's face was painted pale, but her makeup was flawless. Not a single strand of her hair was wet. She held out a warm mug of cocoa toward me. Drink this quickly. We don't want you catching a cold. Tristan frowned, immediately guiding Sienna to sit on the sofa. Don't worry about her. A little rain won't kill her. I'll make you some porridge in a minute. My hand trembled, spilling some of the hot cocoa onto my skin. It burned, leaving a bright red mark on my wrist. Did I have to be dying to deserve his concern, or was I just not worth it to him? Chloe, there's something I need to tell you, Tristan said, holding Sienna as if she were a fragile glass doll that would shatter at any moment. Sienna has terminal cancer. For the short time she is left, we are going to take care of her. I stood frozen, holding the mug like a statue. And when did you get diagnosed? My voice was so hoarse, I barely recognized it. Sienna coughed weakly into a tissue. Just this month. It was detected very late. I wasn't going to tell you. I didn't want to ruin your engagement party. But the pain became too much, and I didn't have anyone else to turn to in Europe. So I called Tristan. I didn't expect him to fly over and drop everything. Chloe, you aren't mad, are you? Watching Sienna lean weakly against Tristan's chest felt completely surreal. When we were 16, Sienna was the one who encouraged me to chase Tristan. She helped me lose weight, taught me how to do my makeup, and planned accidental run-ins for us. And now, in less than 24 hours, she had married him behind my back, leaving me to be ridiculed at my own engagement party. Tristan let out a cold snort. Mad? What right does she have to be mad? She couldn't even recognize her own fiance at the party. Does a woman like that even have the right to get angry? The memory of the humiliation from this morning flashed in my mind, making my knuckles turn white. So you two got married? Sienna suddenly choked on her drink. Tristan, I was just so happy I forgot to hide my Instagram post from Chloe. It's fine. She was going to find out sooner or later anyway, Tristan said, rubbing her shoulder comfortably. Chloe, since you already know, I won't lie to you. He lifted Sienna's left hand, showing off their matching platinum wedding bands. Sienna and I are legally married. For her remaining days, I will stand by her as her husband. Okay, I said, my voice flat, devoid of any emotion. Tristan blinked, a flash of surprise crossing his eyes. But I also have something to tell you, I continued, looking him dead in the eye. I'm getting married, too. The living room fell into a dead silence. You married? Tristan's lips curled into a mocking smirk. Do you even know which man you're marrying? He recognizes me, and he doesn't play sick games to test me. Hearing this, Tristan burst into a harsh laugh. Stop playing around, Chloe. You've been obsessed with me for 10 years. Is there even another man in your life? You don't even have the social skills to meet anyone else. How are you going to get married by spraying them with perfume so you can sniff your way to the altar? Sienna piped up in a soft, patronizing voice. Chloe, I know you're hurting, but you shouldn't lie about something like this. Tristan waved his hand dismissively, picking Sienna up in his arms. Chloe, I am Sienna's husband now, so you'll be sleeping in the guest room tonight. No, Tristan, please, Sienna protested weakly, clinging to his neck. I'm dying anyway. I don't want to ruin your relationship. I'll just sleep on the couch. Tristan only held her tighter. Diana, you are my legal wife. This penthouse is your home. The mistress of the house does not sleep on the couch. With that, he walked straight into the master bedroom, closing the door without giving me a single backward glance. My knees buckled, and I sank onto the floor. I looked around the living room. Every single piece of furniture, every painting, every curtain had been carefully chosen by me for our future home. But in the end, there was no room for me in this house. Heading to the kitchen cabinet to find some fever medicine. From the master bedroom, Tristan's soft, gentle murmurs drifted out. The bitter taste of the pill dissolved on my tongue. He had never once spoken to me in that tone. After a quick shower, I crawled into the small guest bed, wrapping the duvet tightly around myself. Just sleep, I told myself. In a few days you'll leave this place forever. The next morning, I woke up just as the sun was rising. My head felt heavy and hot, but sleep was impossible. I walked out to the living room. The bathroom door was slightly ajar, and I could hear Sienna's muffled voice from inside. Richard, I have a follow-up appointment in a few days. Make sure you forge the medical records perfectly. Swap my meds for vitamins. Tristan doesn't know anything about medicine. He believes whatever I say. Sienna's voice was low, but in the quiet morning, every word cut through the air like a knife. Once Tristan helps pay off my family's debts, you'll get a huge cut of the money. My hands began to shake uncontrollably. I pushed the bathroom door wide open. Sienna gasped, her eyes widening in temporary panic. She quickly recovered, hanging up the phone and casually dabbing pale foundation onto her face to make herself look sicker.
Why?
Why are you lying to him? I whispered, trying to keep my voice from breaking. Because I need the money, Sienna said, putting down her makeup brush and looking at her deathly pale reflection in the mirror with satisfaction. Honestly, I was surprised, too. You chased him for 10 years, but all it took was one phone call for him to pay my debts and abandon you. I guess he never really loved you, did he? A metallic taste rose in my throat. Stop lying to him. I can help you pay your debts.
Just stop this.
Sienna stared at me, then burst into a mocking laugh. You help me, Chloe? Did you forget before my family went bankrupt, we were worth 10 times what your family is? She stepped closer, looking down at me with pure disdain. Even if I have to live like a dog now, I don't need your pity. Suddenly, Tristan's voice echoed from the hallway. Sienna, are you in there? Are you feeling okay? Sienna's eyes narrowed instantly. With a sudden violent sweep of her arm, she knocked all her cosmetics off the counter. Bottles shattered on the tile floor as she threw herself down, screaming, I'm sorry, Chloe. I know I don't have much time left. Once Tristan and I have our wedding, I'll go away and die in peace. I won't get in your way anymore. The bathroom door was kicked open with a loud bang. Tristan lunged inside, shoving me hard against the wall. As he scooped a sobbing Sienna into his arms. Chloe, Sienna is supposed to be your best friend. How could you be so cruel? Tristan's voice suddenly cut off. Bright red blood began to drip onto the white tiles, pooling into a small puddle. My forehead had slammed against the sharp edge of the wall cabinet. My vision went blurry and Tristan's face seemed to split into multiple overlapping shadows. Tristan's lips parted, a flash of pure guilt washing over his face, but his hands remained firmly wrapped around Sienna. I don't know how long I lay there before I managed to crawl out of the bathroom and onto the living room sofa. By the time Tristan came out of the bedroom, I was silently dabbing antiseptic on my cut. He walked over quickly, reaching out to take the cotton swab from my hand. I tilted my head, quietly dodging his touch. Tristan's hand froze in midair. He looked at me with a complicated expression. I didn't mean to shove you that hard, he muttered, lowering his hand with a sigh. I know your personality. You wouldn't have pushed her. But she doesn't have much time left, Chloe. Just go along with it and apologize to her, please. My hand froze. I looked at Tristan, feeling as if I was seeing him for the very first time. Taking a deep breath, what if I told you Sienna doesn't have cancer? Tristan stiffened. Then his gaze drifted away, his expression hardening. Do you have to be this petty? I turned my head away, refusing to say another word. Tristan stood there in silence for a moment before turning and walking into the kitchen. A few minutes later, he placed a steaming bowl of oatmeal in front of me. We're going to take Sienna to her wedding photo shoot later. After all, this might be the last time the three of us are together. I stared at the oatmeal, a wave of bitter nostalgia washing over me. During our freshman year of college, I got terribly sick. The doctors couldn't find the cause. My parents were stuck abroad on business. So Sienna used her family's connections to get me the best specialists. Tristan had brought me to his place to take care of me, ordering his chefs to make whatever I wanted. But back then, I threw up everything I ate. I was practically skin and bones. Tristan, who had never stepped foot in a kitchen in his life, spent an entire day researching recipes until he managed to make a bowl of oatmeal that wasn't burnt. Back then, I was so touched by that simple bowl of oatmeal that I cried, promising myself I would stay by his side forever. But my 10 years of devotion had only earned me a double betrayal. I'm not going, I said quietly. Tristan's face darkened. Chloe, you two are legally married. What would I be doing there giving people a free show? My voice was incredibly calm. Even I was surprised by how numb I felt. I guess once you're completely drained of love, there's no room left for anger. Can we go now? Sienna stepped out of the bedroom wearing a beautiful white dress, her eyes shining with excitement. Tristan stared at me for one last long second before turning around and walking out the door with Sienna. The penthouse fell silent. I reached up to touch my forehead. My skin felt burning hot. I couldn't stay here any longer. I swallowed a couple of fever reducers, grabbed my suitcase, and began packing my things. My head throbbed and my breath felt like fire, but I didn't stop. I had to leave before they came back. Chloe, are you leaving? Sienna's voice suddenly echoed behind me. I kept packing, not even bothering to look back. Chloe, can you hand me my perfume from the vanity? I forgot to pack it, Sienna asked, her voice dripping with sweet innocence. Don't you have hands? I replied coldly. Sienna gasped softly, a venomous look flashing across her face. I walked into the guest bedroom to grab my last jacket. Just as I turned around, a heavy mist of perfume was sprayed directly into my face. Sienna stood at the doorway, pressing the nozzle repeatedly, targeting my face. My lungs instantly seized. Every breath became a sharp, wheezing battle. Oh, dear, you look so pale, Sienna mocked, tossing the perfume bottle into the trash can. Sweet smile on her face vanished, replaced by a cold sneer. I collapsed onto my knees, clutching my throat. My airway felt like it was being strangled by a wire. I could only make high-pitched, desperate wheezing sounds. Suddenly, the front door burst open and Tristan's panicked voice echoed through the apartment. Chloe, are you having an asthma attack? My vision was already turning black. I couldn't answer him. Every breath sounded like a broken whistle. Tristan's face drained of color. Chloe. He rushed forward, dropping the garment bag in his hand. His eyes darted wildly around the room. Where's her inhaler? Sienna hesitated for half a second. I don't know. You've lived here for 2 days, Tristan shouted. How do you not know where it is? I desperately pointed toward the bedside table. My fingers shook so violently, I could barely lift my arm. Tristan yanked the drawer open. Empty. He ripped open another. Nothing. Panic finally replaced every trace of annoyance on his face. Where is it? He demanded. Sienna bit her lip. I cleaned a room yesterday. Maybe I accidentally packed it. My heart sank. She hadn't packed it. She had hidden it. Tristan didn't wait another second. He scooped me into his arms and sprinted toward the elevator. Call an ambulance, he barked over his shoulder. Sienna hurried after him. Tristan, my wedding photos. They can wait. For the first time since she returned, he didn't even look back at her. 20 minutes later, the emergency room doors slammed open. Doctors rushed me inside. An oxygen mask covered my face. Someone injected medication into my arm. Little by little, the crushing pressure around my lungs loosened. Air finally flowed back in. I burst into violent coughing. Outside the treatment room, voices rose. A nurse marched out holding a perfume bottle sealed inside an evidence bag. Who sprayed this? Silence. The nurse's expression darkened. The patient has severe perfume-triggered asthma. Whoever sprayed this directly into her face could have killed her. Tristan slowly turned toward Sienna. What did she mean, directly into her face? Sienna forced out a weak smile. It was an accident. I was looking at the bottle. It slipped. The nurse frowned. Slipped. The patient's clothing, hair, and face are saturated. This wasn't one spray. Someone repeatedly aimed it at her. Tristan stared at Sienna. His voice became frighteningly quiet. Sienna, tell me the truth. She immediately burst into tears. I didn't know her asthma was that serious. I was just angry. I wanted to scare her. I never thought. Smack. The entire hallway froze. Tristan's palm had struck her across the face. It wasn't particularly hard, but it was enough to send Sienna stumbling backward into the wall. She looked at him in complete disbelief. You hit me? His breathing was ragged. You almost killed her. I have cancer. Sienna screamed hysterically. I'm dying. Can't you forgive one mistake? The emergency room doors opened again. The attending physician stepped outside. Which one of you is Ms. Chloe Vance's family? I'm her fiance, Tristan answered automatically. The doctor looked at the chart, then looked back up.
No.
According to the emergency contact listed here, he paused. Her fiance is Mr. Adrian Ashford. Tristan frowned. What? The doctor nodded. He arrived 10 minutes ago. As if on cue, a tall man in a perfectly tailored black suit walked down the hallway. The same man who had slid the diamond ring onto my finger at the engagement party. His expression was calm. His gaze swept across Tristan, then landed on the ring still on my hand. Without acknowledging anyone else, he walked straight past them and entered my hospital room. Tristan instinctively stepped forward. Who are you? The man stopped. He turned just enough for Tristan to see the icy smile on his face. I'm the man she's marrying in 7 days. And unlike you, I actually showed up. The hallway went completely silent. Tristan's jaw tightened. You're lying. The man didn't even blink. He reached into the inside pocket of his suit jacket and produced a neatly folded document. Our marriage license application. Our wedding reservation. Our signed venue contract. He held them up for exactly 1 second before putting them away again. I don't owe you proof. Tristan's expression darkened. Chloe only said that to make me jealous. You actually believed her? The man gave a quiet laugh. No. I believed her when she asked me to marry her. And unlike you, I accepted. Without another word, he disappeared into my hospital room. The door clicked shut. Inside the room, I slowly opened my eyes. The oxygen mask was still over my face. When I saw him, I froze. You came, he pulled a chair beside my bed. I said I'd pick you up in 7 days. I never said I couldn't come sooner. I let out a weak laugh despite everything. I still don't even know your name. He looked almost amused. Adrian. Adrian Ashford. I suppose it's about time we introduced ourselves properly. He extended his hand. Hello, future wife. I looked at his hand for a moment before shaking it. Hello. My voice cracked. I'm Chloe. I know. You've known me for years. I frowned. What? Before Adrian could answer, another voice interrupted from the doorway. Years. Tristan had walked in. His eyes moved from our joined hands to the engagement ring on my finger. For the first time, he seemed to truly notice it. His face slowly turned pale. That ring. He stared at Adrian. You were one of the 5 men. Adrian nodded. I was. You planned this.
No, you did.
Adrian folded his arms. You invited 5 strangers to humiliate the woman you claimed to love. I simply happened to be standing there. You abandoned your own engagement. I didn't. You did. Each sentence landed like another slap. Tristan opened his mouth but couldn't answer. Adrian continued calmly. When Chloe pointed at me, I expected it to be a joke. Instead, she apologized to me. She offered compensation. She even promised to divorce me immediately if I didn't want the arrangement. His gaze turned cold. She showed more respect to a complete stranger in 30 seconds than you showed her in 10 years. Tristan's fist slowly clenched. That's between Chloe and me. Adrian smiled faintly. Not anymore. The moment you married someone else, you lost the right to say between us. Tristan looked toward me. Chloe, I know you're angry. But let's talk after Sienna's treatment. I'll explain everything. I quietly removed the oxygen mask. There isn't anything left to explain. He took a step closer. You've loved me since high school. You can't just stop. I looked at him for several long seconds. Then I asked the simplest question I could think of. Tristan, when is Sienna's next chemotherapy session? He answered immediately. Thursday. What hospital? Silence. His confidence faltered. What doctor is treating her? Another pause. What medication is she taking? Nothing. Not a single answer. I gave a tired smile. You sold our future. You married her. You moved her into our home. You were ready to spend millions on her. And yet, you don't even know the name of her oncologist. The room became deathly quiet. Realization slowly crept across Tristan's face. He had never gone to a single appointment, never read a single report, never asked to meet a doctor. He had simply believed every word Sienna said. Outside the room, A nurse hurried down the hallway. Mr. Tristan Cole? He turned automatically. There's someone from the insurance company here. They have questions about the cancer claim your wife submitted. Every color drained from Sienna's face, just beyond the doorway. Her fingers began to tremble. The first crack in her lie had finally appeared. Sienna's smile disappeared. For the first time since returning from Europe, she looked genuinely afraid. What insurance claim? Tristan asked. The nurse frowned. The one filed 2 days ago. She glanced at the tablet in her hands. Late-stage cancer. Estimated treatment costs. Financial assistance paperwork. The insurance investigator is waiting downstairs. Sienna forced a laugh. There must be some mistake. Before anyone could respond, a man in a gray suit stepped into the hallway. Mrs. Cole. His badge hung from a lanyard around his neck. I'm Daniel Brooks, from the Special Investigations Unit. I just need to verify a few documents. Sienna instinctively took a step backward. Daniel opened a folder. Your pathology report, your biopsy slides, and your treating oncologist confirmation. No problem, right? Silence. Tristan looked between them. Sienna? She swallowed. The hospital still has them. Daniel nodded pleasantly. Wonderful. I already contacted the hospital. They informed us they have no patient by your name. The hallway became so quiet, even the heart monitor inside my room sounded deafening. Sienna's face turned ghostly white. Different hospital, she blurted out. Daniel flipped another page. So, we contacted every oncology center in the city. No record there either. Sweat appeared on Sienna's forehead. You must have searched under my maiden name. We did. No record. My passport name. We checked. Daniel calmly closed the folder. Mrs. Cole. Would you like to stop guessing? He placed a single document on the counter. A forensic review of the medical report you submitted. The hospital logo was copied from a brochure. The physician's license number belongs to a retired pediatric dentist. The QR code links to a food delivery website. A stunned silence followed. Even the nurses stared. One of them whispered, a dentist. Daniel nodded. The pathology report was assembled with images downloaded from medical journals. Our software matched 3 of the microscope photos online. He turned another page. The signature was digitally pasted. The hospital stamp was printed. The entire diagnosis is fabricated. Every word landed like a hammer. Tristan didn't move. He simply stared at Sienna. His lips parted. You never had cancer? Sienna grabbed his sleeve desperately. I can explain. I did it because I love you. I was terrified you'd never choose me. I had no choice. No choice. Tristan slowly pulled his arm away. My fiance spent 10 years loving me. I humiliated her. I abandoned our engagement. I legally married someone else. I let you move into our home. I watched her nearly suffocate. Because you wanted money? Sienna burst into tears. My family's debt collectors would have killed me. I was desperate. You have plenty of money. I only borrowed your love for a little while. Borrowed. The word echoed through the hallway. Tristan suddenly laughed. It wasn't amusement. It sounded almost broken. Borrowed. You stole my marriage. You stole 10 years from Chloe. You almost killed her. And you call that borrowing? Sienna reached for him again. He stepped back as though she were poison.
No.
Don't touch me. She froze. His voice had become ice cold. I'll have my lawyer handle the divorce. And if the police decide you've committed fraud, you can explain it to them. Daniel cleared his throat. They already would like to. 2 uniformed police officers stepped out of the elevator. One approached Sienna. Mrs. Cole. We'd like to ask you several questions regarding forged medical documents, attempted insurance fraud, and conspiracy. The handcuffs clicked around her wrists. No. She struggled wildly. Tristan. Tell them. You know I'm sick. I'm your wife. Tristan never looked at her. Instead, he slowly turned toward my hospital room. Through the small window in the door, he saw Adrian carefully adjusting my blanket while the nurse checked my IV. Adrian noticed him. Without saying a word, Adrian reached over and gently took my hand. I didn't pull away. Tristan's shoulders slumped. Only now did he realize something he had been absolutely certain could never happen. Chloe had truly let him go. 3 days later, the internet exploded. Hashtag fake cancer bride shot to the top of every trending list. Security footage from the hospital leaked. The video showed Sienna spraying perfume directly into my face while I struggled to breathe. Millions watched. Millions cursed her. Then came the insurance company's announcement. Every forged medical report, every fake receipt, every fabricated diagnosis, released as evidence. Within hours, police expanded the case from insurance fraud to document forgery, attempted fraud, and assault. The media camped outside the courthouse. Sienna was led inside in handcuffs. No designer clothes. No perfect makeup. No fake sickly smile. Just messy hair and panic. Reporters shouted over each other. Did you fake cancer for money? Did you marry Tristan Cole under false pretenses? Did you intentionally trigger Chloe Vance's asthma? She covered her face and screamed. No comment. It only made tomorrow's headlines worse. The same afternoon,
Tristan called me.
I declined. He texted. No reply. He emailed.
Blocked.
Then he showed up outside Adrian's estate. He stood there for 6 straight hours in the rain. When Adrian finally walked out, Tristan's eyes were bloodshot. I just want 5 minutes. Adrian glanced at his watch. You've already wasted 10 years of hers. You don't get another 5 minutes. The gates closed. A week later,
Court.
Sienna tried one last performance. She collapsed dramatically. I have chest pain. The judge calmly looked at the paramedics. Examine her. 10 minutes later, the doctor announced, perfectly healthy. The courtroom burst into laughter. Even Sienna's own lawyer buried his face in his hands. The verdict came quickly.
Prison.
Massive fines. Restitution. Her remaining assets were seized. Her social media accounts vanished overnight. Every brand terminated her contracts. No one wanted the woman who faked terminal cancer. As for Tristan, his company's shareholders forced him to resign after investors questioned his judgment. The board voted him out. Banks froze several business deals. His reputation collapsed almost overnight. He had thrown away his fiance, his credibility, and eventually his career, all for a lie. 7 days after the fake engagement, Adrian arrived exactly when he promised. He opened the car door. Ready. I smiled. This time, there were no fake grooms. No cruel games. No tests. No lies. Just one man who actually came to marry me. An hour later, we exchanged vows. As everyone applauded, my phone buzzed one final time. A message from Tristan.
I'm sorry.
I finally know what I lost. I looked at it for 2 seconds, then smiled, blocked the number, deleted the message, and walked hand in hand with my husband toward our future without looking back even once.